Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Bland, and I'm an instructional technology resource teacher with Richmond Public Schools. Today, we will continue to cover SOL 8.14b, Simplifying Algebraic Expressions. Specifically, we will begin to take a look at a concept known as the distributive property. We will use that concept today and throughout the rest of the week to help us simplify expressions. For today's lesson, you will need an interactive notebook or a few sheets of paper, a pencil or other writing utensil, and the Desmos calculator. Before we get started, we're going to take a moment to define some important vocabulary that will be used throughout this week's lessons. The first vocabulary word is numerical expression. The word numerical has a root word, numbers. So a numerical expression is made up of numbers, operational signs, and sometimes grouping symbols. For example, the expression 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is a numerical expression. It has numbers and operation symbols. They may get a little more complex to include grouping symbols as well, such as this example, 5 parentheses 1 plus 8 parentheses plus 7. As we get closer to algebra, we use other things to represent numbers, such as variables. They are symbols, usually a letter, that holds the place of a number or some unknown. Most commonly, you'll see the variables x, y, or z, but any letter could do. The next vocabulary word combines the ideas of numerical expressions and variables. They are called algebraic expressions. The word algebraic has the root word algebra. So they're sort of like numerical expressions, except this time we have some algebra ideas or variables included in the expression. Here's an example. 9y plus 5x plus 8. If we take a closer look at this expression, remember the letters y and x stand for some unknown number. We call those variables. The numbers that are in front of the variables, in this case, y has the number 9 in front of it, and x has the number 5 in front of it, are considered coefficients. Although you don't see any operation symbols between the numbers and letters, number 9 is being multiplied by y, or 9 times y, and the number 5 is being multiplied by x, or 5 times x. Notice that this number here on the end, the number 8, has no variable attached to it. So we call this number a constant. If we were asked to separate this expression using the operation symbols, or in this case, the plus signs, we could break this expression up into something we call terms. For this expression has 3 terms, 9y, 5x, and the number 8. Last but not least, we'll be talking about the distributive property, our focus for today. This distributive property basically states that multiplying a number by a group of numbers added together will be the same as multiplying each number separately. That definitely sounds like a mouthful, so let me show you what I mean. In algebra, we typically use letters or variables to represent numbers. But here's an example using numbers. I used a equals 2 B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 4. Notice this number 2 is outside of the parentheses. If we pay attention to just the left side of the screen and we solved it according to order of operations, we would do what's in the parentheses first, or 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, and 2 times 7 is equal to 14. Keep that in mind while we try the distributive property. The distributive property basically states that I will give out, distribute, in math, that simply means to multiply the number 2 by everything that's inside of the parentheses. So I'm going to give this 2 to the number 3, or 2 times 3. And I'm also going to give this number 2 to the number 4, 2 times 4. Notice I kept the addition sign that was already there. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And 2 times 4 is equal to 8. 6 plus 8 is equal to 14. We're going to explore the distributive property a little more closely using algebra. For this portion of the lesson, you will need to make sure that you have the lesson's notes and practice sheet. Here's an example using algebra. Notice in this expression, we have a variable here, x. Remember, to distribute just means to share out. Or in math, that simply means to multiply. When you use the distributive property, you are giving the numbers on the outside of the parentheses to all of the numbers or variables inside the parentheses. Be sure to fill this in on your notes. 3 parentheses x plus 2 parentheses. In this case, we're going to give the number outside of the parentheses, or 3, to all of the numbers and variables inside the parentheses. So I need to distribute this 3 to the x. What is 3 times x? 3x. We can't go any further because we don't know what x is. So we'll leave it just like this. We also need to distribute this 3 to the positive 2. Since there's a plus sign already there, I'm going to keep it there. And 3 times 2 is 6. There, we simplify the expression using the distributive property. Let's go to the next example. Here's another example. 4 parentheses 3a minus 7 parentheses.
We're going to distribute this 4 to everything inside of the parentheses. This 4 needs to be distributed to the term 3a, and it also needs to be distributed to this term 7. 4 times 3a is 12a. I'm going to keep the minus sign there.
4 times 7 is 28. We cannot simplify this any further since we don't know what a is. So here's the simplified expression. 12a minus 28. Since the math will be a little bit more challenging, I'm going to show you how to open up your Desmos calculator. Start by minimizing your window. You can then adjust the size of the window by dragging the edge back and forth until it's the size you desire. Go ahead and open a new tab and go to the Desmos calculator. Enter desmos.com/scientific into the URL bar. Once it is open, click the tab and drag it forward. This will give you two windows that are side by side. This will make it a little easier so you do not have to click back and forth between windows. I'm going to show you again. Minimize the window, open a new tab for Desmos, and then click and drag that window so that you have two windows side by side. Now let's continue forward with the problem set. Notice here that I still need to distribute the 3/4 to everything inside the parentheses. On my calculator, I'm going to click the fraction button and enter 3/4. 3/4 times 12y. I can't enter the variable y, but I can enter the number 12. 3/4 times 12 is 9. So 3/4 times 12y is 9y. There's a plus sign there that I'm just going to bring down. I also need to distribute that 3/4 to the 28. I'm going to click the return button on the calculator and again enter the fraction 3/4. Hit the multiplication sign since I am distributing, and then enter the number 28. 3/4 times 28 is 21. This leaves me with the expression 9y plus 21. Since I don't know what y is, I can't simplify any further. We can do the same thing if there is a decimal outside of the parentheses. I need to distribute 2/10 to everything inside the parentheses, the 40z and the 10. In my Desmos calculator, I'm going to enter 2/10, hit the multiplication sign, and then multiply by 40. Notice I cannot enter the variable there. 2/10 times 40 is 8, so 2/10 times 40z is 8z. There's a minus sign there that I'm going to bring down, and then I'm going to multiply 2/10 by 10. Two tenths times 10 is 2, and this leaves me with the expression 8z minus 2. Since I don't know what z is, I can't simplify any further. Now it's your turn to try to use the distributive property. Complete the independent practice. If you don't have access, pause the video now and copy down these problems. If you need some additional practice, locate the quizzes link in today's lesson plan. If prompted, enter the code 928983.